Yes, sir, it is started.
Okay, that's good. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope I'm audible and visible to you all. Yes, good, good, good. So you can use the chat box for any kind of communication with me. But till then, we'll start with this. Okay, just hold on. Welcome to this online moderator session for class 12th HSC. I'm Chandrakant Sonavne from Podar College. Welcome you to this online session. The subject is bookkeeping, and today is 10th February. We'll go ahead with a proper part to part session where we will have session divided into different subparts. Okay, so let's start. The full session would be divided into parts. The first one would be the solution of the online exam that was taken by the college. Then preparation, what are the points that you need to note, or rather I would say the things which you need to keep in your mind before actually going ahead with the examination. Then the points which you need to understand or note, or rather you should be careful of during examination, even during writing the paper. And the last session would be your questions would be answered. But before we actually start with the whole thing, we'll go one by one, and let's begin the whole session with understanding the paper pattern. Won't take much time because most of the things are already discussed in the individual lectures of all the faculty members. So there is hardly any scope for me to talk about this paper pattern, but yet just for quick glance, we can see this. This is the standard paper pattern which the board has set for the previous year as well as this year. Okay, this is going to be there only for these 2 years. Last year they could not conduct the exam, but this year definitely there would be offline examination, and this would be the paper pattern. 20 marks, that is almost 25% of your paper would be for only objective type questions. There are different set of objective type questions, but probably the few selected few may be asked, like select the correct option, give one word, true or false statement, find the odd ones. Okay, and complete the statements. Answer in one sentence, or possibility of asking the bill of exchange or any other format of objective type would not be there. Okay, possibly. Fine. So out of these, 4 questions would be asked. Question 2, you will have option between admission and retirement. One of the question you will have to attempt, either admission or retirement. Question 3, the option would be given to you in dissolution or bills of exchange. In case of question 4, you are given choice between issue of shares and computer accounting or computer in accounting. This would be a theory question. Question 5, you will be given choice between death of a partner and analysis and interpretation of financial statements. Question 6 is for NPO, not for profit organization, which has weightage of 12 marks, and there will be a separate question on partnership final accounts. The weightage is of 12 marks. In all, you will have to attempt 80 marks paper, 20 marks ABT would be separately taken by college, and then this paper has with option 116 marks. So you have ample of options to select. Let's talk about the solution of the online exam. First, I'll take that part and then we will go ahead. Uh, Only objective type questions would be discussed in detail because most of the other things would be there on the screen. I will share question as well as answer. Both the things would be there on the screen. What I suggest you all please take the screenshots whenever you feel like, so that you will have it for reference and record. Okay. So next few slides will have full solution of online exam taken, and you all are advised to take screenshots so that you can save it and you can actually refer it as and when required. Okay. So this is the first part, objective type question. Few things which we will discuss even in question answer session. But before that, let me be very clear about this. Unless the statement, unless the statement in objective type question says that, if it is properly given this way, that rewrite the statement. If nothing is mentioned about rewriting the statement, you people can just give one single answer. Like for example, this is question 1A, give one word, term or phrase. You can directly write the answer because the question doesn't mention that you have to rewrite the statement. So you need not write the question, the statements here, and directly write the answers. Okay. Find odd one, same thing, and state whether agree or disagree. Here I would say it is better to write the statements and then write true or false. The reason is it makes it the task of the examiner easy. The statement can, they are subject experts, they know which statement is true or false. So a number, your statement number 3, if it is there already in the answer sheet, the examiner would not have to refer it in the question paper. So that will make the task of the examiner little simple. And the more time you save of the examiner, the more marks you will get. Okay, so be little considerate and accordingly write the paper. Complete the following sentences. Here you will have to write the full sentence, and the statement is complete the following sentences. It is better to write the full statement, and whatever is the answer, underline it. Okay. Even in the question answer session, you can ask me whatever you feel like is not clear and you would like to make the things clear. This is the answer. The expenses which are not directly related to production or purchase, these are indirect expenses. The ratio in which the profit on revaluation of assets and liabilities is shared by the partners, old profit sharing ratio. This type of trade bill doesn't have specific time or period, bill at sight. Donation collected for specific purpose or reason, specific donation. Now here I have seen some people have written liability as the answer. Don't write such kind of answers. I mean, it is not expected that you are supposed to just consider it as asset or expense or liability or income. I would say always understand the tone of question and accordingly try to give the answer. Here the answer is, it is specific donation. So the fees paid by the member at the time of joining NPO, membership fees. Find odd one in this. Odd is salaries and wages. The reason is very simple. It is indirect expense. All other are direct expenses. If you see wages and salaries, productive wages, all are direct expenses. Salesman's commission, export duty, advertisement, office rent, these all are actually indirect expenses, but office rent is admin expense, and these 3 are sales promotion expenses. Not in final accounts, but in your analysis of financial statement, administration, selling and distribution and finance costs, these are separately considered, and hence office rent is odd one. Entrance fees, legacy, subscription, life membership fees, these are the things given. You are supposed to take subscription as odd. The reason being, other are capital receipts. Interest fees theoretically is considered as capital receipt, but later, if the statement specifically gives you, I mean, if the question tells you about interest fees to be capitalized, definitely we consider it as liability. Hence, this interest fee comes under liability here in this particular question. If nothing is mentioned in the HSC paper, it is assumed that it is revenue expense, a revenue receipt. So consider it as revenue receipt. Okay. Gross profit ratio, net profit ratio, operating profit ratio, and current ratio. All first three ratios are income statement ratios, and the current ratio is balance sheet ratio. Hardware, software, humanware, delta, there is nothing called as delta, that becomes odd. Other are parts or components of computer system. Do you agree statements? All assets are transferred to realization account. False, cash and bank and other fictitious assets are not transferred. General reserve is distributed among all partners on admission unless mentioned specifically. True. Interest on loan is not credited to capital account of the partner, but it is added to the loan account, basically credited to loan account only. Dues of the deceased partner are paid through his capital. No, other partners pay it, not through his capital. False. Fluctuating capital method shows the capital introduced by the partner. No, and that's the reason why we have fixed capital method, where we can understand what was the original capital introduced by the partners. Incomplete the following statements. Assets taken over by partner is debited to dash account. Any asset taken over by partner is always debited to partner's capital account. If all partners become insolvent, the unpaid amount shall be transferred to dash account. Definitely, it is transferred to deficiency account. When drawee accepts the bill without any modification, means no conditions attached, no changes, it is called which type of acceptance? It is either called clean acceptance or general acceptance. If it is with changes, qualified acceptance. Maximum amount of capital that company can raise by its memorandum, it is authorized share capital. Balance in the capital of retiring partner is transferred to his dash, basically to loan account. Take assess of this, so you will have question as well as answer. Okay. After every slide, I would go and check. Yeah. About time management, yes, definitely. I'll tell you about it. Okay. Fine. This is question 2. Okay. This is question 2. The question on the left hand side and the solution on the right. In this particular question, there was no typical thing which was to be specifically discussed. But yes, in admission, you need to really take care of goodwill part. The common mistake which is observed is people write here while uh, treating goodwill. Most of the students make mistake. They don't write two goodwill here. They write two cash. And sometimes when they are expected to write two cash, they write goodwill. Okay. So when is to be written? When it is withdrawn, that time it is cash. When it is written off, it is goodwill only. So two partners would share goodwill here and then it is written off. If the sacrifice ratio is negative, It means the partner has not sacrificed anything. In that case, the partner would not get any share in goodwill. So in this particular question, the important thing was this. See, by goodwill, Sushma was given credit and Reshma was not given any credit for goodwill. Just a second. It was, yeah. Question 2, the option which was there for admission, retirement of partnership, retirement of partner. In that case, you need to see first what is expected. In admission, ledger accounts were expected, and in retirement, we are supposed to give journal entries. This is another mistake which is normally observed. People most of the time write ledger accounts when asked journal entries. Okay, that is a common mistake that should be avoided. And see what is the order in which you are supposed to do. Means you first of all transfer the reserves, then you go ahead with the adjustments, and for every adjustment you will pass entry, and after every entry there has to be narration. On purpose I have not kept narration here, but I would say it is always better to write narration. Without narration you will not be given full credit. So narration is must. Moreover, this totaling of the journal is very important. Take assess of this. If the question is true or false, I got a question in between saying, what if the question is true or false and we write agree, disagree? In that case, uh, technically you are giving wrong answer. You are expected to write. But I tell you, most of the time, the board and the whole, uh, you know, group of examiners or moderators, they would always try to somehow, protect you people and neglect such kind of mistakes, and they would give you credit. But if you are a rank holder or you are a student who is scoring out of out, definitely you will be penalized for it. So I would always say read the statement and then only decide what is to be done. Okay. Okay, I got one more question about retirement. In cash in hand and cash in bank, if the cash in hand and cash in bank both are given, then we have to make separate accounts or not. So if the question states that the new partner is paid amount through some part of the amount of the retiring partner's share is paid in cash, then you need to do everything in cash account. If they specifically mention that it is done through bank, then bank account needs to be opened, and then accordingly you will have to make changes. Okay, so read the statement. What is the adjustment given? Is the adjustment related to cash is given or bank is given? That has to be checked, and nothing mentioned. In that case, if nothing is mentioned about whether the amount is paid or received by cash or bank, nothing is mentioned, then you have to assume it is to be done through cash. And then you will have to write a note there that yes, in the absence of information, I have assumed this particular thing. But I tell you, in the board paper, there is hardly any scope to assume anything, the things are always given crystal clear. Every other thing would be given very clear. There is hardly any vagueness, ambiguity. There is hardly any second thought that would trouble you, that whether I should consider this as this way, or there is no scope for assumptions basically. And I tell you one more thing, that there would be no changes in the question paper. I mean, don't expect any change to come or any kind of modification or changes would be done. It is all done. The paper is properly set, proof checked, everything is done. So not possible that board would have some kind of error in the paper. Chances are remote. Okay, this is death of partnership, as the death of a partner, and in death of partner, you are supposed to make note of certain specific points, like profit and loss suspense account, calculation of P&L suspense account, then calculation of interest on capital, calculation of salary. So this is the chapter where you are given specific marks, fixed marks for working note. So you need to have proper working note in the answer. You need to give it properly and give proper numbers, give proper title, like this way it is shown here. Calculation of Pratiksha's share of goodwill, calculation of Pratiksha's share till death. Okay, so this note is must. Without this, you cannot just go ahead with this particular chapter. I mean, there is proper allocation of marks for working note. Okay, I got a question for retirement, whether journal entries and ledger both are important. I would say it is always better to prepare for both, but most of the time, specifically this year, uh, we just cannot assume things. Okay, so what I suggest, it is better to prepare for both. Chances of ledger being asked are more, yet you should not leave aside journal entry sums. These special tips, I will definitely, I have the slides ready where I will put all those things. You can by that time continue. I can see the chat box and go ahead. No problem. Any specific question in this particular solution, then we can talk about it. Just a moment. Yes, working note. Revaluation account will be working note in death chapter. Okay. Okay, selecting the question. Somebody is asking, sir, why don't you guide us to select the questions? I'll tell you how to do that. Okay, even the order of attempting. Yeah, fine. Just a minute. Okay. How many marks are allotted for this? Okay. Okay. Interest on capital will always be on the opening balance of the partner, and then based on that, how many months the partner was there with the partnership, that would be checked, and accordingly for those many months only you will find interest on capital. Okay. Okay, chances of asking balance sheet, if you ask me, the chances of uh, question of this particular chapter, death of a partner, and asking that prepare a balance sheet, are very less, but I won't say no. Okay, there are examinations, or either I would say there were papers where this particular part was asked, so I won't say no to it. Balance sheet, and if there is any balance sheet is to be prepared, then you will have to make adjustment of IOC IOD with profit and loss suspense account. This is a different thing. Okay, so that needs to be understood, that if you have any IOC, IOD, that will be adjusted through profit and loss suspense account, and then only you can prepare balance sheet. But I tell you, chances of this particular chapter's balance sheet uh, being asked for the final examination is really very, I mean, there are less chances. I won't talk about it that it is not there. No, but definitely you will have to have, uh, you know, divide your answer in three parts like this: find capital account, working of goodwill, and working of share in profit till death. All those things would be there as part of your answer. In case you have not taken SS, you can take it. I'm going slow so that actually you can take all the screenshots, and then even after this session, if you have any questions related to it, you can ask. This is question 3. Analysis and interpretation. Basically, you don't have any questions based on interpretation, but analysis part definitely. Uh, okay. This is the solution. Question 3. Equity share capital, preference, reserves. You need to know the vertical balance sheet and accordingly place it and do the calculation. I tell you, the calculation in the board examination would be really easy, as you people don't have calculator. The board would definitely consider it and keep those amounts where you will have, you know, less of fractional answers and, you know, fractional figures, or I would say the calculation would be more tedious or something. They would definitely avoid it. They will try to keep the amounts very simple, easy to calculate. Okay, see the presentation, how to write it. It is vertical format, and you just have to find the percentage. So comparative balance sheet, common size balance sheet, and then cash flow. These are the statements that you are supposed to prepare, and ratios are all basically calculation. Okay, but if you have choice of debt and analysis, definitely most of the students would go for um, death of a partner. Okay, so you need not put the percentage sign everywhere, as you have already written here percentage. Okay, can we round off the percentages? That's the question, but I would say stick to two digits after point. So if it is 42.06532, then just go ahead with 42.06. But you cannot round it off. Like you cannot take 43%. Not in this chapter, at least. Okay. In other chapters, I'll tell you when to round off and when to not. Acha, there is one more question, that can we make goodwill account separately? Yes, you can make goodwill account. No problem. No problem. Is my voice clear? Because one of the student is saying not audible.
You are audible, sir.
And is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. So no problem. Fine, fine. So take assess of this. And specifically in this chapter, I would say do not round off these percentages. Don't, because the whole total has to be 100%. The final total has to be 100%. And that's the reason why I'm saying do not round it off. Where you can round it off, in all other chapters where you have such kind of, fractions coming in the answer, you will be able to do it. But how to do it, I'm giving it in the next slide, not to worry. Okay, most of your questions would be answered through those special tips, not to worry. But keep your questions ready so that the moment I start the question answer session, you all can actually send it, and I'll deal with each and every question properly. Okay, so this is question 4, and it is Dissolution. Most of the students say that dissolution, all partners insolvency is difficult and not to be practiced and it won't come in the paper. Don't assume things, I tell you. You will get some wrong messages that through social media and other mediums that this time the papers would be really easy and you people will have any kind of where we will not face any problem and everything would go smooth. I would always say better ready for the worst. I mean, it is better to prepare yourself fully and then go ahead well prepared. So practice all the types of sums. Do not uh, assume things that this would come or this would not come. Okay, so this is all partners insolvency, in which you will have to be very careful while transferring the assets. No liability should be transferred to realization account, and then you will have each and every liabilities separate account. So here in this case, there was only one external liability, creditors loan or sundry creditors, not creditors loan, sundry creditors. This partners loan would be transferred to partners capital account if it is all partners insolvency. If it is not all partners insolvency, then you will have to keep the partners loan account separate. You will anyways not transfer it to realization. Okay, but keep it separate means you will open a separate partners capital account, sorry, partners loan account, and you will transfer the balance there. Do not make partners loan account if it is all partners insolvency, because the loan would be transferred to partners capital account. And then you will have individual liabilities account. You will show the liabilities opening balance and then you will close it. Okay, and at the end you will have deficiency account, tally. In case of normal sum, simple resolution, the bank account tallies, but in all partners insolvency, the deficiency account must tally. If this tallies, then uh, most of the things are correct. That's the assumption. Okay. Now, how to go about in this particular uh, chapter or this particular question? Just a second. I'll just take some questions here. Just a second. Okay, there is a question that if no information given about partner's loan and is it paid or not, then you have to pay it because we are dissolving the firm. No dues would be kept pending, and hence definitely it will be paid, not transferred to the partner's capital account. Part Loan would be transferred to partner's capital account only and only when there is all partners insolvency case. Okay, coming back. Just a second. Okay, if this is taken, tell me. Okay, this is issue of shares. Sorry, bills of exchange, in which you need to prepare yourself for journal entries. Mainly, the questions would be asked on this particular chapter where they would ask you journal, and sometimes they ask you journal plus ledger. That combination I'm going to discuss soon, but this is the question and this is the solution. And again, don't forget totaling the journal entries. At the end here, you need to write the total. While writing narration, uh, no need to be very meticulous about it, but the meaning has to be very clear. Don't stick to one typical type of narration. Understand the transaction and then write the narration in your own way, but narration is must. If you just say being goods sold on credit, it is enough, no problem. Or if the bill is drawn, it is drawn for these many months. Okay, and then if it is discounted at what rate, you can write all these details, no problem. But the total has to be very perfect. One more thing, Uh, the common mistake observed is calculation of interest and calculation of discount. The amount of discount and calculation of interest. You need to be very particular about the time period while calculating interest and discount. So when they say 10%, we in a kind of anxiety, or I would say in hurry, we kind of calculate the interest or discount on full year. I mean for full year, and you have to proportionately charge interest, or proportionate amount of discount needs to be calculated. So you need to be very particular about it, that interest has to be charged for how many months, discount is to be calculated for how many months. That is important. Okay. Okay. Yes, it was cash sales. The question is, in this question, I have assumed that 14,000 was cash sales and 20,000 as credit sales, but it is same. This is it. Cash received, if you write cash to sales, but is it on the same day? If no date is mentioned, then it is better to separate these two transactions and then do it. Okay. Take SS. Do not forget the totaling part. Now, this is just the question of issue of shares. Just the question, not the solution. It is on the next page. Okay. This is it. And now in this particular question, this particular entry, first entry, that the shares were issued to the promoters. For this, you can refer to this page number. You can note it down, or when you take SS, it will anyways be there with you, because in that picture it will come. Uh, on page number 327 of the board book, you will find this entry where the promoters are given shares, and for that the entry is goodwill account debit to equity share capital account. Okay. So here it is like you are paying to promoters, not the fees, but you are giving shares to them. Any kind of such payment would be considered as part of the preliminary expenses or establishment cost, and hence it would be transferred to goodwill account. Okay. Then one more question about issue of shares chapter. Normally people ask, sir, is it okay if we don't write call scenarios account? And some people say, is it fine if we go ahead with call scenarios account? I tell you, both the methods are accepted by the board. Those who write call scenarios when the call scenarios are not received, like this in the seventh entry, and those who say we won't write call scenarios, we will just write the net amount, even they are correct. Both the methods are correct, not to worry. So this is the common question, whether to use call scenarios or not. So this is the answer. Look at this. The page number 327 of the board book, page 330 of the board book, and page 337 of the board book. All will have entries where call scenarios account is used. So don't say that this particular method is correct and this particular method is wrong. I would say both the methods are correct, and board gives credit to both the ways. If you use call scenarios or if you don't use call scenarios. Still. Okay. Just a second. Okay, do we have to total the journal? I tell you, always you will have to total the journal, and it may be any chapter, may it be bills of exchange, may it be issue of shares, or any other chapter. Okay. In case I ignore your question somehow, not on purpose, but if it is so, I did not attend to your question, then please uh, check, make a note, and then at the end you can ask me. Okay, you can do that. Fine. Just a second. Any other question related to this? Acha, if nothing is mentioned, then which type of shares we need to assume? Then you can assume it as equity shares. Do we have to show the working of issue of shares? I would say yes. Every question which you people are, every question which you people are attempting, and where there needs to be some working note, work any kind of working, or to find any particular amount, you need to give it properly. In depth chapter, though, it is definitely important, but in other questions as well, because most of the students, I tell you, of from your group would be scoring somewhere around 100 or 99 in accounts, and that time, if working is not given, the chances of you losing some 1 or 2 marks uh, would be high if you don't write working. It is better to give working. But if it is consuming a lot of time, then you can directly go to the net amount and write it, no problem. Okay, just a second, few more questions. Okay, what kind of working is basically the working which you require for transferring the amount to capital reserve and such kind of working. Okay, and I got one more question. I would say it is a valid question, sir. What if the journal has, journal goes on the next page, means if 2 pages are used for journal, then I tell you, you just have to total it at the end, no problem. If you don't show the carry forward and brought forward, no specific marks are allotted for that particular part, so no problem. If there are 12 entries, you write all the 12 entries, and at the end you can total it and write the gross total. No need to show balance carried forward or brought forward. Okay, just a second. Any other question? Okay, fine, fine. Wow, this one is always the common question, sir. Can we use margin? I tell you, yes. Forget about what kind of instructions were given in the school days. I tell you, I'm not saying they were not valid or something, but I would say in bookkeeping specifically, you can use margin. There is no problem. There is no specific instruction that margin cannot be used. And I tell you, most of the students feel comfortable using margin, then only they write the full partners capital account with proper spacing. And if you have 3 partners, how would you manage it in that one page? Okay, one side. So you can do that. Some people have habit of writing on both the sides of the question paper, sorry, answer sheet. Then in that case, you can do that, no problem. But I would say it is always better to write everything on one side only. Okay, if you have, it is again individual choice. Okay, so totaling is must again, and you can refer to these page numbers for finding what are the ways in which the entries are passed and how the call scenarios account is treated. Take access of this. I'll just skip it once. Take access of this, and about NPO, need to be very particular with writing subscription and the treatment of subscription. Okay, Then special items like this. I've shown it both the ways. If you see the solution, entertainment receipts and entertainment expenses. Ideally, entertainment expenses and entertainment receipts should be adjusted against each other. Meaning, if you have entertainment receipts, show them on income side, deduct entertainment expenses, and show the net effect. Or you can do it this way. I have purposely given you the second way as well. Another way of doing it, entertainment expenses on the debit side and entertainment receipts on the income side. As I said, ideally, what it should be done, receipt should be deducted, a receipt should be shown on income side, and these entertainment expenses should be deducted from entertainment receipts. Both ways, it is going to be correct. Don't worry about the total and everything. You may find that the total of your income and expenditure account would change if you change the way you attempt it. Okay, so no worry about it. The board gives proper instructions to the examiners what is to be done, and both the answers are considered correct. There is no problem. Okay. Computer in accounting, that question is asked. Would I tell you, nobody would attempt? I don't think so. From our college, anybody would attempt computer in accounting in front of issue of shares. Okay. So if you wish, some specific questions are there. You can attempt those questions only. Just a second. Any other question? Okay. Fine. This is the question only because it will consume a lot of space. So definitely. I'll keep it on the next page. I mean, it is there. Is marshalling important? One more question asked here, whether to follow marshalling or not. I tell you, uh, in board, there is no specific instruction to the examiners that marshalling is to be given any kind of weightage in marks. So you can do away with marshalling. You can follow your own way, no problem. If you follow marshalling or not, it is considered at par, no problem. Okay. Paper pattern, okay, fine. I'll share that part. Okay, no problem. Fine. This is the question of final accounts. One more question about NPO. Okay. The expenses can be deducted. The entertainment receipts and entertainment expenses can be adjusted, and net amount can be shown in income side. No problem. No problem. Okay, time allotment. I have a separate slide, not to worry. I'll give you time allotment for each question. I'm telling you, next few slides would solve all your doubts. Okay, anything specific about NPO now? Okay. So as I said, marshalling is your choice if you wish to go ahead. Ideally, people follow fixed assets to be kept first and then the current assets at the end. Okay, so there are two ways, order of permanence and order of liquidity. It is up to you which one you would like to follow. This is the solution of final accounts. Now, few things about this. Not writing debit credit here. Look at this. Would reduce your marks. So you need to be very particular writing debit and credit. Then when we write here, don't write GP. Most of the time people use abbreviations. No, don't use them. Okay. Only bills, only accepted abbreviations are account A slash C, DR debit, CR credit. Okay. And for outstanding, you may use O slash S, but otherwise, no other abbreviations are accepted. So it is, yeah, RDD, fine. They don't cut marks, but otherwise it is better how to avoid such kind of abbreviations. I have seen many people writing bills receivable as BR. Okay, even that is the practice, and because of which you may lose marks. So it is always better. One thing I would like to tell about the previous chapter. Just a second. This is a very silly, or I would say very minute mistake, but would result into a huge loss. I've seen one paper scoring out of out marks, but here what happened in the income and expenditure account, the person, the student wrote it as here as income, income, and here expenditure. Rest of the things were correct. There was no problem. The sum was tally with right answer, but I tell you, technically the answer was wrong, and then you are giving right to the examiner to cut all those marks. So avoid doing that. Be very particular about the formats. Okay, coming to the main thing, I was talking about final accounts. In this, avoid writing GP, bring it down. When you write here, you can write this as two divisible profits, or you can write it as two partners capital. What is the ideal way? If you ask me, I would write here as two partners capital account, because you are transferring it to partners capital. So profit is transferred to partners capital account, hence it is better to write partners capital account. And when you transfer it here in the partners capital account, you write here as buy profit and loss account, net profit. When you have drawings, even though the drawings are given as goods withdrawn, don't write two goods withdrawn. Better write drawings and write in bracket additional, so that you are like, you're not giving any chance, any scope, any room for error, and then you get full marks. Okay. In balance sheet, when the total is given, draw two double lines, two lines basically. Two lines drawn shows that the balance sheet is totaled, and here afterward there is no record, so that is the end of the account. So okay, so I have some questions here. Just a second, I'll just go through those things which I'm going to discuss in detail later, so I would not take them, but just a second. Can we write gross profit transfer to profit and loss account? Okay, fine, no problem. Can we write net profit carried down? No, I would say it is better to write to partners capital account, and then you write in bracket net profit transfer to partners capital. Just a second. Okay. Okay. So some are asking like, is it fine if we write one account on each side? No problem if you cannot manage the space. I mean, board paper is quite a standard size of paper, so you don't assume that the paper would be small in size. No, not at all. It is proper. No worry. But in case you are not comfortable writing it and you feel like that it is not that proper, then you can use one side for one account. No problem. Okay. If any kind of insurance is paid for any period beyond 31st March, would be taken as prepaid. and any insurance is paid for 1 year. Try to understand this. If the if the statement is like insurance is paid till 30th of September, or if it is 30th of June, it means you have paid 3 months extra. Don't consider that it is 15 months. No, not at all. It is 12 months and 3 months extra you have paid. It's not 12 plus 3. No. So 9 months insurance is pertaining to this year, 3 months is prepaid pertaining to next year. So never have such kind of notion in your mind that if the date is after 31st March means it is additional expense paid. No, not at all. And can you really pay 15 months insurance and 18 months insurance that way? Please check. Okay. In 10th, you used to stick the black paper. Yes, that was holocroft. It will be used even this time. Yes, it will be used this time. Okay, one more question, sir. Can we write on the question paper that this item will go in this account? Yes, you can write, but with pencil. And then tell the examiner also that the supervisor, not the examiner, tell the supervisor that this will make my task easy and I will erase it immediately after solving the question. In case the supervisor object to this, do not argue, leave it. If teachers who are teaching commerce and specifically this subject would definitely allow you to write it, because that's the standard way students solve the question. We write TD, CD and the short forms to understand the posting, where to post the things. So I would suggest write it with pencil, and then also tell the examiner that I'll write it for some time. Once the question is over, I am done with this answer, I would erase it, and then erase it as you commit. Okay. One more question, that do we get just a second. Do we get extra sheet for calculation? I can tell you one thing. It is better to use the last page of the answer sheet. You have 28 pages answer sheet, a big bunch where you can write. Use the last page as a page for rough work or any kind of calculation. Like, don't use extra sheets. Okay. And if they don't give it, you will unnecessarily be kind of not so happy with it. So don't ask. If they allow you, definitely it is good. uh, Black pen or blue pen, I would say, I have a special slide for it. I'm coming to it right now. uh, uh, Better to use blue pen, not black, because if the papers are to be kind of, they go for checking or any kind of verification, the black pen merge with the moderators even use nowadays black pen. So I would not suggest using black pen. I would say it is better to use blue pen. Even some people are asking, like, is it okay to use gel pen or ballpoint pen? I tell you, you can go ahead with any. If you're comfortable with gel pen, don't worry. You're not writing the paper sitting near to the river. It's all mm, sorted. Don't even think about it, that the water would spill and this would happen and that would happen. I really don't would say. I mean, I would not say don't use gel pen. You can use it because it becomes attractive. You're comfortable with it. Whatever suits you, please follow it. But if specific questions are there, specific rules are there set by board, then you need to abide. Okay. How much time? I'll tell you how much time. Time management, I'll give you. Just a second. Can we post all the things in the balance sheet without opening capital account? Good question. Yes, you can. You can do all the calculation which is shown here as a plus and minus drawings and then interest on capital or any other adjustment related to capital. You can show it in liability side, no problem. But if the question has current account, if the question says, ask you to prepare current account. In that case, if the current account sum comes, you have to and you must prepare current account. You need not prepare capital account, but in that case, you need to prepare current account. So those who are asking like whether to make capital account or not, the answer is you can do all the adjustments in liability side without opening capital account, no problem. If you ask me what is advisable, prepare capital account. No, it is better. Okay. If not, you can still do it like without it. Yes, you can prepare partners capital account and current account after balance sheet. The question is, can we prepare it after balance sheet? Yes, no problem. No problem. Okay, okay. So these are the few things which I wanted to show you about this, but just a second. Okay. Now, preparation before the examination. You people are going to prepare, rather there is hardly any time to prepare, but these things would definitely help you. The overall perception is like this year the paper would be very easy. I won't say that. Don't assume, don't relax. It is better to work hard and complete the part from your side. Give more importance to both textual solved and unsolved sums. I tell you, there is a very minor, I would say, or I would say there is hardly any chance that the board would go beyond the framework of board textbook. So whatever there is in the board textbook, you people are supposed to cover that portion, and that is more than enough. Don't go ahead with very tricky adjustments, very tricky, difficult questions. No, not at all. Uh, Admission of partner retirement can be made really difficult with many different type of adjustment which are asked in the professional examinations. But in HSC, the framework would be of the board textbook. So as far as possible, stick to the board textbook and solve the solved as well as unsolved questions. While preparing for any chapter, divide the whole chapter into subparts. Subparts meaning every chapter has different parts. Like in final accounts, you can say sums with capital with current account with without current account, like that. And in admission, the rather I will just share the slide and tell you which are the different parts of each particular chapter. Give due time for preparing objectives. Now this is the weak area which we don't attend to. This particular part can be done through board textbook or any other reference book, but objectives need to be studied. No student gives separate time for learning or rather reading the objectives of bookkeeping. They assume that things would be very easy, and you know, I tell you, computer uh, accounting, in that chapter there will be one objective which will be compulsory objective. So better do the textbook objectives properly. 99% the objectives would come from board textbook. Okay, some application based questions would be framed, so definitely you need to be ready even for those questions. Okay. If you wish to practice more sums or in limited time, more sums meaning you want to practice more, but you have limited time. In that case, solve each and every type of sum, and then similar or related sums you just glance through. So it would be easy. It will make your task easy. Uh, that's the most important thing. Do not use calculator even during practice. Most of the time, uh, the accounts in specifically in accounts paper, the marks are lost only because of calculation mistakes. Now some people were actually asking me right now that, sir, how to avoid calculation mistake. I would say stop using calculator even during practice. That's the only problem. The moment you use calculator, your calculation is like it's not your own calculation, you are not doing it. So no practice of calculation, and definitely it will affect you in the long run. So definitely avoid use of calculator during practice sessions, and then when you calculate you need to have enough time for calculation. So the time management is good, but I tell you this time 3.5 hours, it is more than enough. It is more than enough for you to complete the paper peacefully. Okay, make sure you you practice those sums where journal entries are asked. Most of the time, we practice dissolution through realization account and partners capital account and balance sheet, and we face lot of problem when the question is on journal entries. Meaning, they ask you to prepare journal entries, and then you are troubled. You haven't practiced journal entry sums, and that is the weak area. So try to make it strong. Try to practice more sums with journal, so that even if they ask you the journal entries, you won't be troubled. So which chapters they may ask you journal entries other than issue of shares and bills of exchange? These are the chapters: admission, retirement, dissolution. Okay, even one day prior to exam, it is better to practice sums rather than just glance through sums. Like most of the students I've seen, they just glance through the sums and they say, okay, I can tally this up account, I can tally this account, I can solve this sum easily. That's the most, I would say, uh, wrong way to, you know, practice accounts. It's better to solve it. At least one, two sums to be solved properly, so you get used to the format, the posting, and you practice it well. And then you can glance through other questions. Okay, just a minute. A question: will textbook, what was the question? Just a second. For journal entries, is it okay if the entries for adjustments differ in order? No problem. No problem. If the order is different, no problem. Will textbook reading will help in objectives? Yes, definitely. Definitely. Okay. Okay, fine. So I continue. Limit your use of and dependence on social media. Most of the time you are going to spend a lot of time on Insta, Snapchat, and other things, and then you end up losing your precious time, and then you repent. So it's basically it is better to avoid this in this particular season. Avoid it, and then you will be at ease. You will have enough time to practice things. You can take assess of this as well, and then we can jump to the next part. Okay. Make sure that certain things are properly understood, meaning you are certain about certain things, how to present the paper. So while presenting paper, you need not be troubled, you need not be in two minds. You need to have clarity, like what I would write, where to write, how to post the things. Do not go predetermined. Most of the students say, I'll attempt only admission, I will not look at retirement as at all. But sometimes the adjustments in admission of partner would be little tricky, and that of the retirement would be so easy. So in that case, you end up losing marks if you don't see retirement sum. Read. Board has given you 10 minutes to read the full paper. Definitely that reading time was never available to any other students, but you people have the chance to read the paper in advance. So read it properly, understand what the sum is, and then you decide the choice. Don't go predetermined, I'll do this only and I will not look at this. No, it's not done then. Most of the time the mistakes are committed not because of lack of knowledge, but because of lack of confidence. We have seen less of practical uh, on the field practice, I would say, because you people have learned everything online. So writing practice is the mm, I would say the core area of teaching learning. You people have actually not practiced it. You have not used, or rather you have not used your energy and time for writing, and that is going to be a big problem. And hence it is always advisable to write and then go ahead with learning the chapters rather than just looking at it, glance through. Make proper formats. The formats need to be proper. If the formats are wrong, definitely you, as I said, the mistakes like expenditure and income replaced as income expenditure may happen if you don't practice more formats. Okay, so yes, the 10 minutes time will be given for reading. I got a question. There will be any reading time? Yes, you will be given reading time, 10 minutes. Okay. Okay. Which type of sums to be solved? Okay, fine. That if possible, I'll make a list of questions, but I'll give you right now which areas you need to, concentrate on, which type of questions you need to practice now. You can use margins or not? Yes, you can use margins, no problem. Okay. Even I got a question right now that what if I change the order of attempting? I'm telling you, no problem. Now fractions to be rounded off. This is what I was talking about. See, look at this. 3250.5. You can write it as next digit 3251. And if it is 3250.4, anything below zero point 0.5, don't round it off. If it is 0.5 and above, please round it off, no problem. Go to the next digit. I think I'm very clear about this. Those who were asking about rounding off and fractions, is this clear? Okay, good, fine. Take SS of this if you wish. Now, important points during the exam. As I said, time is not going to be a problem this time, and definitely time management won't be a big trouble for you. This is going to be the first and last batch, maybe, where you will have not to worry about time management, because 3.5 hours is more than enough for subject like bookkeeping. But in case you take time in calculating things and posting things, and definitely you will consume full time, no problem. How to manage your time, I'm going to discuss right now. Look at this. This is the standard time taken for any kind of question. For every question I have given standard time. For example, objectives, you will take 25 minutes. I'm actually doing it not conservatively, but I'm saying max to max 25 minutes you can take. Actually, some of you would end up writing it in 10 minutes only, but I'll say go aram se. You have enough time to complete the paper, read each and every objective properly. Some objectives, I tell you, one or two objectives are very tricky. Out of 20, one or two objectives would be tricky. So go really very slow, understand them well, understand the tone. Like for example, right now I'll tell you one objective, you will understand how tricky it can be. Just decide in your mind what is the answer. If I say encashment of bill of exchange before its due date, please tell me the answer. Encashment of bill before its due date. I got multiple answers. Like I got something like surrender, some are saying retirement of the bill, some are saying discounting of bill. So I tell you, it is encashment of the bill, encashing the bill. You can encash the bill before its due date only with bank, and that is going to be discounting of bill. If it is retirement, it would be premature payment of the bill. So these things need to be checked properly. Okay, how many parties are there in a bill of exchange? Yes, tell me. Parties to bill of exchange. Yes, yes. Three parties. Perfect, perfect. Okay, fine. So it's always better to give time for objectives and then prepare separately, or give some allotted time for objectives. You can get out only when you are done with objectives properly. Okay. Admission of partner. A standard sum would take 25 minutes. Dissolution or bill of exchange may take 25 minutes. Issue of shares may take 20 minutes. Death of a partner would take 20 minutes. NPO, 30 minutes maybe. And partnership final accounts, 30 minutes. Sometimes some students say, I take 40 minutes for final account. It's all right, because see, even after taking these, uh, the time limit for each and every question, the total time consumed by you would be 175 minutes. And the total time available is 210 minutes, including your extra time given to you. And 10 minutes of reading time, you can add these. So it would be 230 for understanding, writing, presenting, and everything. So what I say, it's always better to uh, be go little slow and then complete the task, because it is going to be really easy for you to complete the paper. Nobody would have any trouble completing the paper. Only if you make calculation mistakes, you will go ahead and consume a lot of time in doing things, and then it will consume your time. Otherwise, standard paper would take enough time for you to have 15 minutes to 20 minutes spare at the end. Okay, now order of attempting question. I'm coming to that. Yes, I'm coming to that part. You can take assess of this. Okay. Order of attempting paper. Most of the time people say how to go ahead and attempt the paper. I would say the best method is the method which suits your requirement, your style, your comfort. Even if I tell you right now what should be the order, I would always suggest, if you are comfortable with that, then only you follow it. Otherwise, stick to the order which you follow. What is my suggested order? I personally feel you should attempt objectives first, question number 1, and directly jump to question 7 and question 6. This is mainly because question 7 and 6 has most of the common adjustments like prepaid, outstanding, okay, closing stock kind of adjustments. So similar adjustments can be done easily. You will save time. And I tell you, most importantly, at the end of the paper, if you keep 7th and 6th uh, question, that is NPO and other final account, then it is possible that because of one question, which was question number 2, question 3, 4, or 5, went wrong, it will have impact on question 6 and 7, which was very easy and simple. So if you post the things properly, you will get question 7 and 6 tally. And I tell you, the feeling of getting that balance sheet tally is just unimaginable. I mean, it is just a different feeling. You all can understand what I'm trying to say. So the moment you get your balance sheet tally, that gives you strength. Yes, I'm done with question 7 now. Question 6, again I get tally. Your confidence is boosted, and definitely that boost would definitely reduce your mistakes in other questions. So we need a booster in between. So question 7 and question 6, best to attempt first. And then you can change the order. Question 2, 3, 4, 5. You can attempt 5, 4, 3, 2. Some people say I go completely ulta, from reverse uh, uh, kind of calculation, or reverse order. I go from 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. No problem. But don't keep objectives at the end. I'll say objectives, do try to do it first only, because most of the time we in that anxiety or some kind of panic situation, we may forget to attempt objectives, and that those 18 to 19 marks are in hand. I'm leaving 1 mark aside for the tricky objective question, but if you have prepared yourself well for objectives as well, you will get 20 on 20 for sure. So those are marks in our hand. Grab them and then go ahead and attempt the full paper. Again, I tell you, I have highlighted it properly. Do not change your order just because I'm saying it. If you are comfortable with your own style, your own way of writing the paper, continue the same method. My method is best for maybe for me, but may not be for you. So follow your own style. Okay. The common case questions which are normally asked: can we change order of attempting the questions? Yes, you can change. From 7 you can jump to 2, from 3 you can jump to 6. There is no problem. Nobody penalizes you for changing the order of attempting paper. Don't worry about it. Now some people say, sir, what if I don't get final accounts tally? Then I tell you, it's hardly possible unless you have made some gross mistake. Otherwise, final account will be so easy. Four typical type of adjustments would be there, not 7, 8 adjustments. Okay, 12 marks, and there will be somewhere around 24 or 26 postings. So you would, I mean, I personally feel you will not have any trouble getting final account tally. Okay, sir, I got a question, sir. If we solve question 7 first, the examiner's mindset would be not in our favor or irritated or something. Not at all. I got something in chat box like this. I tell you, we the examiners, look, we are. I tell you, um, are always for you and always would favor you, not trouble you, or rather have some kind of grudge on you. Nobody. I can say that boldly for all the examiners in Maharashtra State Board, that we'd have no typical cribbing or have kind of any kind of grudge against anybody that this person is changing from this to this. What's the problem? I just have to write the question number 3, check the paper, and go ahead next, because anyways I'm going to put all the marks on the first page. So there is no problem you changing the order. I tell you very clearly, boldly, you can change the order at any time. No problem at all. And on those, sometimes forgetting certain things is going to loss of memory. Sometimes is blessing. I would say forget things which are given to you specifically during the school days. Not to use the margin. If you use margin, then they will cut the marks. And then if you use gel pen, there would be some kind of problem. The papers would be wet and the ink would spread and all. Are we checking in? Leave it. We have proper place to check the papers, and don't worry about your paper. It is properly carried to us, and it goes back to the board properly. Don't worry. No irritation, no frustration. Nobody would trouble you. Okay. If possible, use blue color. The reason is, I'm not against black, but the reason is the lines which are there on the board answer sheet, they are not so dark. So because of which the impression of black paper would be not that good. I mean, your letters would not be highlighted. So your sentences need to be highlighted, and that's the reason why I would say it is better to use blue pen. But if there is no specific instruction on your hall ticket to not to use black pen, then you can continue using black as well. Gel or ballpoint, both are okay. Gel pen or ballpoint, no problem. Avoid overwriting. That's most important. Cancel the answer properly, cancel it fully, and then rewrite rather than overwriting it. You people try to make 3 ka 8, 8 ka 3, 6 ka 0, and something of that sort. No, avoid it. Don't do it. Most important, this is going to be the news very soon on your social media. That board has allowed calculators and all. I tell you, such messages would spread and they would trouble you. No calculators are allowed unless you have some learning disability. Especially, you will have to take a permission from board, and then only the calculators would be allowed. Otherwise, not, because of corona or because of this, then that, online learning and all. No, board has given you the permission to, no, not at all. If that permission comes, we people, the college would give you specific instruction on your official WhatsApp groups, as well as we'll put it on the website. Don't worry. But don't depend on fake messages in social media. You will very soon have this. And the moment you get it, please send it to me. I would be happy to know that board is allowing calculators. Okay. So some important points during the examination. Some important points or aspects of each chapter. Now, what happens? We learn the chapter, but we forget that every chapter has some components, and those components need to be checked. Those components are given here under one head. This is the title. See, reconstitution of partnership firm, and under that, admission of partner. Which things you need to note? Number one, calculation of new PSR. Practice this because it may come for objective type as well as you can have it in the question. Sacrifice ratio simply means when to find the sacrifice ratio, the formula and the calculation. Treatment of goodwill, all the six types of treatment, valuation method or premium method, check properly. It's all there in the book. Sums with current account, see them once because we ignore them as if this won't come. Don't assume things. Capital adjustment sums means the partners would adjust their capital in the new PSR. Something of this sort would come. So those questions are important because most of the students find this part difficult. They don't understand how to find the proportionate capital of each partner and then do the adjustment in cash or bank or loan or current account. So please go through all these questions where capital adjustment sums are there. Okay. Journal entry sums in admission, calculation of goodwill, that average profit method typical, that needs to be done. Working is very important because you need to show you're working. It won't fetch any particular marks, but I would say it is better to show working. So in case you are when you are getting out of out marks, these things would be checked and your presentation and overall things would be checked, and then accordingly the credits would be given. I got a question, sir. Are hall tickets available, sir? Yes, all tickets have reached to college, but the college would give you specific day on which you will have to collect it. Maybe by this time you might have got the message. You will be updated about it in the official group. Uh, can I share the PDF? If possible, I'll share the PPT as well. Okay, fine. Now, those who have taken pictures or screenshots, if you just send it to me, I can send it to all the divisions, because what you will do with PPT, you will click and see better. I'll give you the pictures, so that would be easy. Okay, reconstitution of partnership, retirement, see all the 5 treatments of goodwill, and then loan or cash, that is means whether the partner is paid on the spot or whether that amount is transferred to his or her loan account. That has to be checked. Calculation of gain ratio, how to calculate it, do the calculation, see some sums where calculation of gain ratio is done, and accordingly how the goodwill treatment would change if there is gain ratio. Okay. Okay, I got a question, sir. Is it okay if we show net entry for goodwill? So I tell you, it's very straight clear. Don't show net effect in any of the chapter or any of the answers of bookkeeping. Always give complete picture. Net effect would, be a problem when the solution given by the board would have both the effects shown, and the solution given by you is having net effect. So net effect things, combined entries, all these things to be avoided. Like for example, in renewal of the bill, you have 4 things happening in the renewal of bill: old bill cancel, new bill, interest, part payment. So I have 4 entries separately. Don't combine. That's my personal suggestion. But don't worry, if you combine it, still the marks would be given. But then it is always better to, go ahead with how the board gives the solution. Okay. The question is, ABT will be same for all colleges? No, not at all. The format would be same, but the colleges would make it as per their own standard. Okay, fine. Just a second. I'm reaching to the question answer session. That time you can ask, no problem. This is reconstitution, death. Please check how to find profit and loss suspense account, how to do the goodwill treatment, how to show the working note. And for that, you can refer to the solution which I have shared earlier. Then partnership file accounts. These are the few things which you need to just check whether you know it or not. Current account sums, that typical uh, bad debt treatment, ONNO, RFDD, RFDC, IOC, IOD. If you all know, IOD is on average basis 6 months. If percentage is given, provident fund, there are four treatments of provident fund, means four items come in the final accounts. That is provident fund, which goes in balance sheet liability side, provident fund investment, which goes in balance sheet asset side, contribution to provident fund, that goes in profit and loss debit side, and then most important, interest on provident fund investment, which is a liability, and that should be added with the provident fund. This is very important. Again, interest on loan, partners loan, if it is given as partners loan in the final accounts, you need to, without saying, you need to calculate 6% interest on partners loan. Okay, if no date is mentioned, if it is borrowed on the last day of the financial year, no need to calculate interest. Otherwise, if it is there in the trial balance, you have to give 6% interest on partners loan. GMOS, that is general miscellaneous office and sundry expenses given with trade expenses. Find out what is GMOS and trade expenses. Then those questions actually trouble most of the students. Okay, when, where to write trade expenses? So let me tell you, your subject teachers have already taught you, but just a kind of brush up. GMOS is general miscellaneous office and sundry expenses. If GMOS is given with trade expenses, then trade expenses would appear in trading account debit side. If GMOS or GMOS is given and trade expenses are given without GMOS, in that case, trade expenses will go in profit and loss account debit side. So that need to be checked about GMOS. Try to practice or see all the hidden adjustments where the dates are given and some percentage is given. You need to find out how much to calculate and then how to calculate it, and the percentage of interest and the loan interest and investment kind interest, insurance, advertisement. Check all these adjustments and hidden adjustments. Check once. Okay, okay. Then if you have taken SS, then I'll jump to this. NPO, not for profit concern. Treatment of subscription. This is a standard thing. Everybody does it. Do it properly. Uh, Understand how the subscription is dealt with. Special donations, how to do it. I mean, why to show it in balance sheet liability side. Then treatment of picnic receipts and picnic expenses, just like entertainment receipts and entertainment expenses, just like any other typical receipt and typical expenses. If they both are related to one activity or one event, adjust it. Stationery, this is very important. Opening stock of stationery is given, then you have to add purchases, closing stock, this type. Sums with opening balance sheet. Sums with opening balance sheet given, that sometimes create problem. Which one to carry forward? All fixed assets to be carried forward to the next month, next year, and all such sums. Find out all these sums. Books, it is always asset, and life membership fees and legacy would be liability unless specifically mentioned. Otherwise, they are considered as liability. Dissolution of partnership. Check whether you know simple dissolution. whether you have understood how to pass journal entries, whether you have understood how to deal with one partner's insolvency, two partners insolvency, and then all partners insolvency, and most importantly, sums with current account. I mean, these questions need to be checked once. I'm not saying these are the probable questions, but I'm giving you the framework, the whole set. These are the questions, these are the subsections or subsets of the whole chapter. Go through and then make sure you know all these things. Bills of exchange, types of bills, objective questions of bills of exchange, simple sums, that is one typical type of bill drawn by the drawer, and drawee accepts it, and the drawer discounts it and then renews it, and the drawee accepts a second bill, and then drawee is declared insolvent, something of this sort. Okay. Now, this is very important. One thing I missed, drawer's journal means you will have to pass entries in the journal of drawer and then prepare drawer's account in the books of drawer. This has to be understood properly. Most of the time, students make mistake understanding the question. So they are telling you to prepare drawer's journal, and at the same time, they want you to prepare drawer's account in the books of drawer. So even you will have to be very sure, and rather you will have to pass drawee's entries so that you can make drawer's account easy. If you can directly do it without passing entries in drawee's books, it is fine, no problem. Otherwise, drawer's journal is the most probable kind of question asked in the board. One drawer, many drawee type of sums. Just go through, because even those questions may come. Issue of shares. In this, you need to know what are the different types of share capital. You need to learn simple sums, and I tell you, in issue of shares, they will not go beyond forfeiture. In fact, they will restrict themselves to reissue, so forfeiture only, and reissue and other things would not be there only, probably. But it is a frame. It is in the framework, so go it till. I mean, do it till the end, and go to the end, and then solve all the questions till capital reserve. Simple sums, pro rata sums, balance sheet sums. The chances of balance sheet being asked are less. I'm not saying no, but less. Forfeiture of shares, reissue of shares, transfer of balance to capital reserve. So that is the last type of question in the issue of shares. So take assess of this. Now, here I am open for question answer. Quickly, you can ask me. No problem. You can. Uh, just a second. Let me check. Okay. What we have to learn in computer accounting, the questions which are given just behind the textbook chapter, okay, and the objectives. In objective type, can it be entrance fees? Yes. Admission fees, entrance fees, membership fees? Yes. Marks distribution, okay. Even in time management, I have shared marks distribution. Look at this. If you see this, uh, see this, everything in bracket, marks given, marks allotted for each chapter. Okay. The question is, sir, would interest on calls in arrears would be asked? See, actually, it is part of the chapter as such, but board textbook has no sums where these questions are asked. So it is better, I would say, know about it, but no need to practice it much. Okay. Yes, you will get the answer sheet before reading time. You will get answer sheet at maybe around 10:30 and 10:35 only. You can write all the details and complete all the initial filling up of the information, and then you can wait for the papers to be distributed 10 minutes prior to the examination to begin. You will get paper and you can read the paper. Changing the sequence, what was it? Changing the sequence would not have any problem if you change the sequence, as I told you. Do we have to learn components of computer accounting? Yes, you have to. It is for objective type. I tell you that chapter is important from objective type because there is definitely one question going to be there and it's going to be compulsory. You don't have options in objective type questions. On which chapters the objective type questions would be asked? No, there is specific allocation. You cannot go beyond that. After the session, you will get that allocation on the group so that from which chapter objective type questions would be asked and how many. You will get it complete clearly. Is it necessary to draw margin at right side? No. But if you draw it, you will be safe. Like you can uh, restrict your answer. It won't reach to the end of the page. If we write one trading account item in the profit and loss account, will the marks be cut? Definitely. If you write one trading account item in profit and loss, definitely you are going to get wrong GP, gross profit. So you will lose marks there. And even profit and loss account. Ultimately, profit and loss account will show net profit, correct, because you have shown expense only. But then you will lose marks. How IOC and IOD affect profit and loss suspense account? Profit and loss suspense account basically is amount which you are supposed to pay to the deceased partner or retiring partner. So if it is IOC, it will be added. If it is IOD, it will be deducted from profit and loss suspense account. Will ABT be conducted? Yes, definitely. Once you receive hall ticket, yes. Is totaling in journal is compulsory? Yes, it is compulsory. How many marks will be deducted for posting or calculation error? I tell you honestly, it depends on where you have made the mistake and how many times you have made the mistake. More mistakes, more marks would be deducted. But if you have done one mistake and then your final accounts, you will definitely lose 2 marks at least. Which sums to be preferred for while practicing? I would say, as I said, solved and unsolved sums of the board book should be taken as base to decide which questions to practice. I mean, that is the area where uh, You will get all the adjustments. Okay, that would be asked in the board question paper. Okay. How many marks are for journal? Totaling of journal. No specific marks at it. No specific marks are allocated. No typical marks are allocated for or allotted for journals total. But if you don't have it, it won't be a complete answer. Then the examiner has right to deduct 1 mark. That too, they do it when you are out of out case. Otherwise, not. Means you have scored out of out, then definitely such papers would be considered for such kind of penalty. Otherwise, not. In bill of exchange, which how we will know which bill we are supposed to prepare. It will be mentioned there. The details of the bill only would tell you. Details of the question will tell you which bill to prepare. Okay, this is the normal question, sir. What if my posting is correct but my tally amount is wrong? No problem. Every posting has standard marks allotted like half mark each would be the case. Okay, most of the question it is half mark. If it is partners capital account, it is one fourth mark. So basically, uh, every posting fetch some marks for you. Okay, so don't worry about it. Even if your last answer is wrong, yet you will score good marks, at least 7 on 10 or something. Uh, if you have not made any mistake as such. If you have made any mistake, one particular typical mistake, and then you may lose 1 or 2 marks. But for other postings, the marks are given. Not to worry. By changing the sequence of questions will affect the marking scheme, not at all. Anybody can change the order, and yet you can get 80 on 80, no problem. Okay, about ABT and the pattern, you will be soon updated on the official group. No worry. I said paper pattern and everything would be specifically told to you, informed you in advance. Now, which sums to prepare or which sums to see, I would say again refer to board textbook. In death question, if the interest on drawings is given as percentage, do we have to take half the period? You don't have to take it. You just have to take it for only a few months till the partner is alive. I mean, till the date of death only. If it is 3 months, take it only for 3 months. Don't do half. Averaging is done only for the drawings of the full year. Otherwise, not. Okay, which sum to prefer first? As I said, question one, then 7, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be the proper pattern. Okay. Will ABD question will be textual? Those questions would be yes from textbook and some application based, but not so difficult. That I can say. Not so difficult. We will always try to give you marks like which will help you to score out of out. We won't penalize you unnecessarily. We won't keep it that difficult so that you won't be able to score good. And it is as per the board's pattern. So board pattern itself is simple. So not to worry about ABT. you will score good in ABT. No worries. But for that, you will have to go through all the objectives of the board textbook, all those chapters. Behind all chapters there are questions, refer them, objective type questions, and you are done. Then do we get full marks for computer accounting theory question? I would say straight away no. Less chance that you would get 8 on 8 in computer accounting. That's the reason why I say issue of shares would give you more marks compared to computer accounting. Whatever is the case, if insurance is paid after 31st March, take it as only for 12 months, not for 15 months. There is no single case of board book question where it is considered as 15 months or 16 months or whatever odd amount. Okay, so don't assume it that way. When the ABT would be conducted very soon, give me a day's time maybe. I'll check the schedule because you have maths submissions and other things. Okay, so we need to check where we can fit it. Once you get the hall ticket, you will get to know about it. Okay. Yes, the answer the following kind of questions will be from textual sums only for computer accounting. I got a question that from where the questions would be asked for computer accounting, whatever is there in the board textbook, that is the framework. Any salary or commission to partner, yes, it will be added to profit and loss suspense account. Is it okay if we don't write margin, draw margin while making box? Yes, no problem. Salary or commission to partner is also added to, yes, it is added. The question is salary or commission to partner is added to profit and loss suspense account or not. Entrance fees, nothing mentioned, then consider it as revenue. And if they say capitalize it, then only you will capitalize it. If the balance sheet is not tally, depends on how many mistakes you have done. Otherwise, if it is only one mistake, probably you will lose 1 mark only. Question is, even if the adjustment it is not mentioned, do we have to calculate interest on partner's loan? Yes, you have to calculate if it is given in the question, not in the adjustment. In the trial balance, if it is given, then you have to, otherwise not. In final accounts, is it okay if we write liabilities first? No, I would say it is better to write capital first. Keep enough uh, space for capital account adjustments, 8 to 12 lines maybe, and then you can write liabilities. For subscription of NPO, I got a question how to avoid calculation of subscription and confusion about calculation of subscription. Then it is better you go through the first few sums of board salt sums. They have properly given how to calculate subscription. So 2 3 sums of your board textbook salt sums would solve your problem. If they say interest on trying is 500 per month, then take it as per month, no problem. If the question says that. In NPO, books are considered as what? Asset only. Always. Whatever they say. Asset. If it is journals and newspapers, expense. But if it is books, asset only. Now, which sum to do? It's all up to you. The chapters which you have done, the way you have done, prepared yourself, you will decide based on that. I should go for admission or retirement. Some people are asking me, sir, which one we should go ahead with. It depends on your level of preparation. If you have prepared yourself well for admission, then you select admission over retirement. If you have done retirement properly and you feel that the sum is easy, go ahead with it. See, I cannot give you stereotype, typical type of way of attempting paper. It all depends on the individual choice and level of preparation. If you are comfortable with computer accounting, go ahead with it. No need to go ahead with uh, issue of shares. Skip it. But if you are done issue properly and you are comfortable and confident, go ahead with issue. It's all about your level of preparation. Can we get out marks in bookkeeping? Every year, around 16 students from Podar get out in bookkeeping, and nearly 100 students score 99 marks just because they fail to understand these minute details, what to do and what to not while writing the examination. So, while writing the paper, make note of all those things which I've discussed. Definitely, you can score out. This is the only subject I would say. This and maths can give you out. No other subject can give you out. Languages, the chances are remote. Okay, so I don't want to say that my subject is important and other subjects are not. But I'm telling you, I'm happy that this subject gives out to those who do it really well, and you can definitely get from your own group. I'll get some out students for sure. Even though you have learned online, whatever, still I'm pretty sure about it. Can we draw boxes and columns as soon as we get the answer sheet? Yes, you can, but then don't name them. Okay. As far as possible, follow the instructions which the supervisor gives. If they say you have no right to write anything, don't do it. Follow the instructions. If they allow you to draw lines, at least the margins and other things, then you can do that. But with their permission, not without. I got a question, if the exam is postponed, then ABT will be postponed or not. Not at all. The examination is not going to be postponed. Doesn't look like at this moment. Stock of sports material lying unsold, balance sheet asset side. In computer accounting, yes, textbook questions are enough. No problem. Okay. Can you send some more sums? You tell me the specific chapters, and if possible, I'll send more sums. Most of the students have my number, so you can text me, no problem. But only text, no calls, please. If you wish to know your score in your prelim exam, you can come down, no problem. Come to college and get the question paper corrected. But I think after discussing the solution, you can definitely get to know how many things you have done wrong or not at all. Then based on that, you can say how much you have scored. Okay, the question is, are there any chances that opening balance sheet will be asked in NPO? Chances are less, but I won't say no, because in board book there is one question where opening balance sheet is to be calculated. I mean, prepared and then find the capital fund and then make NPOs, other accounts. Can they ask formula for any ratio in objective type? Yes, they can ask what is the current ratio, something of that sort. Yeah, definitely. Yes, Neil, no problem. Okay. Okay. So I guess most of the questions are answered. In case you still have any questions and you feel like that you would like to ask, then yes, you can ask me on this number, but only text, no calls, please. And then I can give you the answer. But don't expect it to be prompt. Okay. Hope I have solved all your questions, all queries, and all the things which you had in mind. But then in case I have yet to explain few things, then you can, I have to explain certain things, you can text me, and that is the thing from my side. Wish you all the best, and I'm pretty sure, though you have learned from online uh, learning portals, but I think you will definitely do well in offline paper or examination. In fact, you people should be happy that you won't be called as online batch. You will be offline proper batch, giving proper examination in examination center. So nobody would challenge your credibility. You have done it properly and you have scored well. So that would be the feeling later. So enjoy that feeling, and I'm pretty sure you all will score well. So that is it from my side. If anything to be asked, you can ask me later. Thank you very much. You all were really good. Uh, and I got good questions. I was not expecting those many questions from your side, but I'm happy I could solve some of them. Thank you very much. Arya, can we wind up?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Arya. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Yeah. Bye.